Howdy everybody, and welcome back to the GMS mobile RPG tutorial. So as of now, the 1-bit Godot course is fully funded and backed with $14,600 some odd dollars of your backer money. Thank you everybody for the help that you provided in seeing that this course happens, and I hope that you enjoy it as much as I will. In the meantime, make sure you catch all the videos of the GMS, of the Godot version by Heartbeast on his channel. Actually, there we go. You're zoomed in. Now we're zoomed out. Okay. And today's episode will roughly correspond with part 8 here, part 7, part 8. There's a lot of theory that goes into these part 8 and part 7 here with how the Godot coding works, but we're not going to be covering that. So we're just going to go straight into room transitions and adding new enemies, and we're actually going to bring in a little bit of from the battle actions here in part 6. We're going to add some effects to what our enemies are attacking and how we're attacking and stuff. So let's get cracking. Tutorial, there we go. Alright, so let's see here. To get us started, let's close all these windows. Let's start by creating some objects that will help us with this, with creating enemies. So currently we just have an enemy right here sitting in the room, but we're going to be killing that enemy, and then what happens after that? Well, we have to spawn more enemies, right? Well, for the Godot version, I believe that Heartbeast is transitioning the room into a new room with enemies whenever that happens. But as for me, I'm going to use a data approach where we use a level data object that will let us level data DS grid, which will let us store what enemies should be where and how we're looking at them. So let's get started on that. Coming over to our enemies here. Alright, let me pull open all the code on the other side here. We are going to create an object enemy spawner. So, oops, nope, don't want to drag you. I'm going to create an object underscore enemy underscore spawner. And we can come back here, delete the enemy from the room, and whoops, drag that in. Just let it sit there. Alright, and this does not need to be persistent or anything. It's going to be created whenever we spawn a new enemy. As part of this, we are going to need to create a couple macros for our enemies. We'll call this level data, and let me zoom you in. And pull open the script over here. There we go. Alright, we need global.level underscore dat. It's equal to ds underscore grid underscore create. And give it a size of 1010 for now. So this is going to roughly correspond to our, let's see, that would be current monster, current level, and ds underscore grid underscore add underscore region. So we're just going to fill in a few blanks here to get us started. Global dot level dat from 0 to 1. So we're not actually going to fill in the first row, which would be 0, 0, because we're going to be starting on level 1, and level 0 won't exist for all intents and purposes If we were to play this game and somehow glitch into level 0, it would be like glitching into the world -1 in Mario. So, anyway, so we have 0, 1, so x 0 and 1, and filling from 9 to 1. Remember, our grid is 10 wide, so that includes the 0, so you'd have 9 at the end there instead of 10. Object underscore rat. And global dot current underscore level is equal to 1. Global dot current underscore monster is equal to 0. And we are setting this monster to 0 because the monster spawner will automatically move us up by 1 each time it spawns a new monster. So it'll start off as 0, but once the first enemy spawns, it'll become 1. So it'll be monster 1 at that point. So let's come back to our enemy spawner now that we got some variables to work it with. Make sure you get a good look at that. And we're going to add create. And spawn a new enemy. Oh wait, I'm looking at the step event. There we go. Timer. So spawn underscore timer underscore is equal to -1. Start us off at -1. Spawn underscore delay underscore is equal to round sec times 1.5. So in this case, I'm using round because I don't want us to be able to have like 3.2 as a possible value here. I want us to have only whole numbers. That way we can make our timer more easily. Enemy to spawn is equal to enemy underscore 2 underscore spawn. We'll start it off as no one. And I have some background animation, but that would require you to get a sprite, which is not available in the sprite package, so I'm not going to include that in this setup here. You should be able to figure it out on your own, hopefully. So over in the step event, spawn a new enemy and die. If spawn underscore timer underscore is greater than or equal to spawn underscore delay, then do some stuff. Instance underscore create underscore layer XY, doesn't matter where because monsters automatically know where to appear. Instances enemy underscore 2 underscore spawn and instance underscore destroy, because we don't want this hanging around after it creates the monster, because due to this greater than equal then it would create monsters infinitely, and we don't want that to happen. And last but not least, change our monster. If spawn underscore timer underscore is equal to, in this case, monster underscore spawn underscore is equal to round animation sec times 1.25. And again, these values are just something I came up with, and you come up with your own if you feel that 1.25 seconds is too long or too short or whatever. Same for the 1.5 seconds. Just copy paste that there. So it only happens once because our spawn timer will only be equal to monster spawn once. Then we do global dot current underscore monster plus plus, and enemy underscore 2 underscore spawn is equal to global dot level underscore dat pound, which is an accessor, so we can get the data out of our grid. Global dot current underscore monster global dot current underscore level. There we go. So that once we hit this monster spawn timer, it will change this up. And don't forget spawn underscore timer underscore plus plus. Alright, I think that should be everything you need. And we should be spawning enemies now. So let's give it a test real quick. Nothing, 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 nothing. Nothing. Well, the enemy exists, so it must be spawning somewhere where it's not supposed to. Maybe I didn't add in the code. Yes, I didn't put in the code here. Over in the parent enemy, set in some code here for X start, Y start. There we go. X start is 46, Y start 17, X equals X start, Y equals Y start. Alright. Now we should actually have the enemy be visible. There it goes. And he attacks us. Oh no. Do some healing. But this just doesn't look very good, compelling yet. So we probably want to have something to make this more interesting. So let's add some animations. We should come down here over to our effects area. We're going to create a new object here. Object underscore attack underscore effect. And this object isn't going to do very much. We have a create, which is image speed equals 1, because we want to make sure that whatever we create is animated. And other event animation end instance underscore destroyed. We don't want it sitting around after the animation ends. So that should be all it needs. So what are we going to do with this object here? So let's come back to our attack button. And we need to create an attack effect. Our underscore effect. We want to capture this instance ID so that we can affect it in a second. Instance underscore create underscore layer parent underscore enemy dot x parent underscore enemy dot y effects object underscore attack underscore effect. And for that effects, we need to come over here to our room editor and add a new layer and give it the name effects. That way our effects are on top of everything rather than ending up underneath, which they would if you didn't do that. Transition ourselves in, and underscore effect dot sprite underscore index is equal to sprite underscore slash underscore effect. That should be all we need. Wait for him to pop in. There he is. Pow. Uh-oh. Not attacking in the right position. That's because if we come back to our sprite for the slash effect, you'll notice that the slash effect is multiple frames. So let me zoom you out again here. We're going to edit the image real quick. Image. we're going to use the convert to frames option. We have 5 images here, and they're all 64 by 64, I believe. Or no, wait, it was 48 by 48. There we go. And hit convert. Poof. Now it is a attack, and we are also going to need to make that middle center. Alright, let's try this one more time. There we go. Look at that attack. Slashing across that rat. We could also put it at top center if you prefer. It kind of really depends on what you think makes it look best. I think I kept it as top center, but middle center is also good. So choose your favorite position. And we could also add a new enemy with that sprite underscore slime. Either A, I'm going to save this for the next episode, or B, we just won't bother because it's literally just a sprite change for the most part, so not really that much interest going on with it. Alright, so we got our enemies spawning. When we kill the enemies, they should spawn new ones, theoretically. Oh, that would actually be useful. So come back to our parent enemy and add a destroy event. Parent enemy, destroy. And when they die, when I die, spawn. So just copy and paste your instance code and create an enemy spawner when your enemy dies. That way we can keep fighting enemies up until the point when we spawn no one, because we haven't put in any checks to make sure you don't overflow, and you crash the game. But I doubt you'll get to that point before you have any problems with testing, so should be okay. Let's see then. What else do we got going on here? We said we add some effects, and we'd add in the rat, the object spawning. So let's add one more effect. So we can use the effects to create an effect when you attack the enemy, but what about when the enemy attacks you? So we should come back to our parent enemy, and over in the attack state, we currently have it set up so that one time when the so that one time there's a one-time event where it takes our health away during the attack, so we can co-op that to also create an effect at the same time. So come down to our attack button, copy and paste the code. And we would do that, but there's a little bit different here. We can't just use that because our player isn't really existent. He's sort of an ephemeral concept. So we should actually create the slash on the player's HP in his stat bar. So we need to figure out where that HP is. So go back to your stat bar code, and you can copy and paste most of this code from there. So let me just copy and paste it here. We create var xx and underscore yy. Get the width of our stat box so we can figure out where in the world our x is supposed to be and our y is supposed to be. Then create the effect at xx and yy. And I think what you should do is also just go back to the stat box and convert this code into like some sort of variable. Not really necessary since you're not accessing this every single frame, but it'd be convenient to convert this into a variable rather than having to actually copy out all the math the entire time. Anyways, so then you create the effect, object attack, give it the sprite. We're not using a blink effect. And also give it the X scale and Y scale of 0.5 and 0.75 because we want it to be smaller and slightly different on the player. So 1, 2, 3. There we go. Like that. So that looked nice. So there's some other effects that you could possibly do right here, like when the player attacks you, when the rat attacks you, you slash the player's HP, but you could also create screen shake and stuff right there, because that would make the attack have more impact as well. So that'd be a cool little thing to add on there as well. Anyways, I think that's everything we need to do tonight. So thank you everybody for joining me, and again, thank you everybody who supported the 1-Bit Godot course. And I hope you all have a great time and good luck with your programming.